The World Health Organization's March 2021 report into the origins of the pandemic told us that a lab leak was extremely unlikely. And the organization's lead investigator, Ben Embarek, said there should be no further investigation of the lab leak theory. Embarek stated that a lab leak could not explain the introduction of the virus to the human population. And he claimed that his investigative team had taken a rational and objective approach in reaching those conclusions. Embarek also said that the Chinese government was highly cooperative and never pressured him to remove anything from his report. Everything Embarek said was a lie, and we have his own words to prove it. Hi everyone, and welcome to Truth Over News with Jeff Carlson and Mahncke.
In January of this year, the World Health Organization sent an investigative team to Wuhan, ostensibly to track and determine the origins of COVID-19. After much fanfare, the team's leader, Ben Embarek, announced at a February 9, 2021 press conference that the virus had a natural origin and that a lab leak was extremely unlikely.
Continue to point towards a natural reservoir of this virus and similar viruses in bat population. However, the findings suggest that the laboratory incident hypothesis is extremely unlikely.
Embarek's claims were parroted later that same day by Peter Daszak, the man who was funneling US taxpayer money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Those funds were provided to Daszak by the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Anthony Fauci's organization. Embarek's and Daszak's claims received almost immediate pushback from an unexpected source, World Health Organization Director Tedros. On February 12th, Tedros stated that all hypotheses, including a lab leak, remained on the table. 2 days later, Tedros's pushback was followed by more pushback from another unlikely source, a fellow team member who had accompanied Embarek to Wuhan, British scientist John Watson.
Be clear, the possibility that this escaped from one of the two big Wuhan research institutes and laboratories is not ruled out.
It is not ruled out, that's correct.
Watson also stated that there were restrictions in what the World Health Organization's team was able to do. And he acknowledged that the team had not been presented with all of the available information. Seemingly unperturbed by the pushback, Embarek continued to push the natural origins narrative. Embarek also claimed that his Chinese counterparts had been highly cooperative during his investigation. His remarks came during a press conference that followed his formal presentation of his team's findings to the World Health Organization on March 30th, 2021.
Of material and results and analysis and data in the report speaks for itself in terms of how the collaboration went. There would never been anything like that if we did not have a very strong and good collaboration with our colleagues in China.
Notably, Embarek also stated that his team was never pressured to remove critical elements in their report.
We were never pressured to remove critical elements in our report.
All of these claims would later turn out to be blatant lies. But Embarek's narrative had been established, and the world's media dutifully recited the natural origins theory put forth in the World Health Organization's official report.
What the corporate media failed to report was the immediate criticism that Embarek's report received from none other than World Health Organization leader Tedros, who stated that even he did not believe the assessment was robust enough. Tedros's concerns appear to have been shared with many in the international community. On the same day that Embarek presented his findings to the World Health Organization, the United States, along with 13 other countries, put out a formal call for a transparent and independent analysis of the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. The World Health Organization team report was not being accepted by everyone. A cascade of events soon unfolded that suddenly elevated the lab leak hypothesis from a roundly dismissed conspiracy theory to being the most likely scientific explanation for the pandemic. On May 2, 2021, former New York Times science editor Nicholas Wade published an article laying out the case for a lab leak. Although Wade's piece was based on information uncovered by independent researchers a year earlier and contained no new information, his standing and credentials in the liberal world of corporate media was the breakthrough that was needed for the lab leak theory to finally be viewed as credible. Then, on May 14, 2021, 18 scientists, including the so-called father of gain-of-function research Ralph Barrick, wrote an open letter in Science calling for investigation and consideration of the lab leak hypothesis. Barrick's participation gave further weight to acceptance of the lab leak theory, as Barrick had previously collaborated with the Wuhan lab. A week later, a co-signatory of a widely cited 2020 letter that claimed the virus had natural origins, Ian Lipkin, came out to say that he had changed his view. Lipkin now thinks the virus did come out of a Wuhan lab, saying that it shouldn't have happened, and that staff at the lab should not have been working on dangerous coronaviruses in level 2 labs instead of level 4 labs.
During his Wuhan press conference in February of 2021, Embarek told the world that it was very unlikely that there was a leak at the level 4 lab at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
We also looked, for example, at the Wuhan Institute of Virology BSL-4 level laboratory and the state of that laboratory, and it was very unlikely that anything could escape from such a place.
Notably, Embarek's comments about the level 4 lab was irrelevant. By February of 2021, Chinese authorities had already conceded that both the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the Wuhan Center for Disease Control were using level 2 labs to conduct bat virus experiments, not level 4 labs. In May of 2021, it was also belatedly reported that 3 scientists from the Wuhan Institute of Virology had been hospitalized for symptoms consistent with COVID-19. This happened before the first official case was recorded in Wuhan. Feeling intense pressure, the Biden administration announced on May 26th that it had initiated an expanded investigation into the origins of COVID-19. The narrative tide had fully turned, and Peter Embarek took note.